Hello, welcome. My name is Brooke Shaden, and this is 10 ways that you can find your artistic voice. This is a question that I get asked all the time. How do you hone that very particular voice that you use in your craft? And that could be anything. And I don't mean your literal voice. I mean the you-ness of what you do. How do you create that very specific artistic expression? So let's jump into a full 10 ways that we can do this. Number 1, we're starting with real talk. What makes you unique? And that's a hard one to say as the first one because it seems obvious, but also very difficult. And you might say, well, that's why I'm here, to figure that out. I mean, aren't you going to tell me how I am unique? Because that is my artistic voice. Yes and no. I'm going to give you tips and tricks, but number 1 has to be for you to do it yourself. Because honestly, that's the work of the artist. That's what artists do, is to dig deep to figure out what makes them unique so that we can put this beautiful, magnificent, wonderful stamp on the world that is truly us. So figure out what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, what makes you feel special, because that is the work of an artist. Number 2 is to ask yourself, what visuals are you most attracted to? I mean, we can't discount technique here because that's a huge part of our artistic voice. So what visuals do you just like? Like if you had to think of your perfect image or your perfect whatever you make, what does that look like for you? And how can you incorporate that more into what you do? Sounds really simple, right? But think about, like right now, what is your perfect piece of art? Like the thing that you would make above all other things that's just like the most glorious thing ever. And you might start to think, well, I can think of what that might be, but I couldn't do it. Yes, you can. I don't care if you want to dive to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, you can do it. So start to think about, what is that thing that I'm striving for, and how can my imagery or whatever your craft is lead up to that moment that you get to do that amazing visual thing. Number 3 is to truly embrace the blank page. Sit down every single day. Sorry, I'm being a little scary. I don't mean to be scary. Sit down every single day and stare at a blank page and just really confront yourself with that emptiness. Because yes, we have so much coming in all the time to our sensory experience, but strip that away and try to become more in touch with your artistic voice. My kitty's snoring and it's really cute. Number 4 is to challenge yourself to a 52-week project. I don't recommend doing a 365 project, which is an image every day for a whole year, because that gets super, super daunting and it's really easy to be too hard on yourself and just quit altogether. But a 52-week project is really fun. It's just creating once a week for a whole year. And it doesn't even have to be like this high expectation thing. It could just be like every week you're gonna make something, whether it's dinner or a photograph or whatever. And I find that to be really fun because within a week's time frame, we can often carve out at least an hour for ourselves to do something that's creative. So if you're feeling like you're not sure what your artistic voice is or how to hone that, one of the best ways is just to practice consistently. So start a 52-week project and see how it goes. Number 5 is to write down 5 words that you want your art to trend toward. So write down 5 words that you want to strive for, visually, conceptually, technically, whatever. 5 words that you feel you want to move toward, and then start to bring your art into that sphere. So, for me, one of my words this year is that I want to create more interactive art. So how am I doing that? Well, I'm creating an exhibition experience that has the onlookers actually creating art in that space. I'm looking into virtual reality, for example. So find 5 words that help you work towards something and then start to actively trend your art in that direction. Number 6 is to look back at your art that you've created and choose all of your favorite pieces that you've ever made. And then see if you can find a through line with your artistic voice in them. So maybe you love all of the images where you use a bright background, or maybe you love this certain color, or you love this concept that you've delved into before. Well, great, use those things. Really study your own art so that you can start to see consistencies through your work, and then you can use those consistencies to create an even bigger body of work, more centered around your artistic voice. The next one is for 7 days, and I want a commitment, for 7 days, every single day, just write down one sentence of why you create. Just simple as that. First thing that comes to your mind each day, why do you create? And write it down. And then at the end of 7 days, you'll have 7 lines going deeper and deeper into why you create, what's important to you, what your goal is, what your message is. And that's the most beautiful way that we can explore our artistic voice, is to constantly have this question in the back of our minds. Why do you create? Why are you bothering with this? You could do anything. Why make stuff? And answer that question for yourself. And often, once you go deep enough, you're going to find that your artistic voice naturally emerges. Number 8 is to ask yourself, what means the most to you? Really, what messages, what ideas mean a lot to you? What are subjects that you're really passionate about, that you feel that you have this opportunity to put out there into the world? And once you really hone in on just as basic as what you love, what you feel passionate about, you can start to incorporate that into your work. For example, one instance in which I've not done this, but I could, is that I'm really passionate about veganism. It's something that not a lot of people know about me, but I could, if I wanted, start to trend my work in that direction because it's something that I love. I don't have that plan right now, but I could in the future. So write down a list of what you love and then figure out which of those things you feel impassioned to put into your work. Number 9 is to acknowledge the type of artist that you don't want to be. We so often talk about what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What's your artistic voice? You, what do you want to do? But we often don't think about the opposite of what is distinctly not you. And that's a really valuable thing to think about, because the more we think about what is not us, the more secure we feel in who we are. So I know that I don't like modern things at all. Well, knowing that lets me know that I only like to create old things or timeless things. And having that sort of reverse process of elimination is amazing for honing in on our voice. And finally, number 10, if you were going to die tomorrow, what would you hope that your art communicates today? And the great thing is that most of us will not die tomorrow. So you have time to start to think about this question really deeply. How can you put your legacy into your art? That is a very big question, and we'll probably talk more about that in the future. So I'm not going to go into a super lot of depth about it, but just start to think about your legacy, your art, and how you can align those two things a little bit more. So that was 10 ways to find your artistic voice, but if I may, let's go back to number 1. What makes you unique? You are the only person who can do that work. Nobody, no video, no artist, no mentor is going to be able to say, this is who you are, this is what you should do. That's on you. And that's exciting because we have the ability to craft and mold this beautiful life that we're living in whatever way we want. So I hope that you dive into this week with this beautiful, passionate sense of who you are, or at least the desire to figure it out a little bit more. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, pass it on to anyone who you think could use it, and have a wonderful creative week. Bye.